Yo, what's good out there, world? Welcome to this edition of Trademarks What You Cooking, and this is part of Trademark Sunday's Best Prep. So right now, I'm about to make a homemade lobster mac and cheese with some shrimps. And right here, I got 4 lobster tails. And back here, I got my cheeses. I'm going to be using some New York Extra Sharp, some Kobe and Monterey Jack. I have some medium cheddar cheese there. I also have some Boursin garlic, fine and herbs. This is a gourmet cheese. I'm going to be using the shredded Parmesan cheese, heavy whipping cream. I have some sour cream in the back. And also the recipe had called for a cheese called Havarti, but I searched the store high and low and I can only find it in the slices. And it calls for a cup of this, but I'm going to make a cup out of this. And in the back, I have some backup cheeses. I also going to be using a 1 pound box of elbow macaroni noodles, and I'm going to be cooking it in my new little casserole little dish I got from Walmart. And I also have a shallot. I hope I'm saying this right. A shallot onion. The recipe also calls for some fresh garlic, which I thought I had, but I didn't. So I'm going to use a garlic powder, and I'm going to be using right here a Cajun seasoning and the seafood magic just for my seafood. So again, here are my ingredients for my homemade lobster macaroni and cheese. Now let's get to it. So first I'm going to cut the tail from off the lobster. And I'm going to actually save the tails, and I'm going to use it to dress up my plate when I'm finished. And I'm going to take my kitchen scissors and cut across the top of the lobster tail. And I'm going to take the meat out. This is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. God damn, wow. Alright, so let me get this meat from out the shell. Alright, here you go. So now that I got the meat out the shell, I'm going to actually save my shell so I can make some seafood stock. So now I done took all the meat out the crab. I have my meat in a bowl. Remember I said I'm going to save the tail so I can dress my plate up, and I'm going to save the shells to make some seafood stock. Now I'm adding my shrimps, and I'm going to only cook them probably like for 4 minutes, 2 minutes per side. I'm going to go in with a little seafood magic. Also, I'm going to use some of this McCormick vegetable seasoning. I removed my shrimps, and now I added my lobster tail meat, and I'm going to just cook this a little bit, probably like for 2 minutes, and I also use some Cajun seasoning to season that with. So now that I took my lobster meat from out the pan, I'm going to now add in my onions. And remember I told you I didn't have no fresh garlic cloves, so I'm just going to put a little garlic powder in the pan. And I'm going to give this a stir. And I'm going to do this probably like for a minute. And for a little extra flavor, I added in 2 tablespoons of this Better Than Bouillon vegetable and garlic. And I'm going to stir this until it dissolves. Now I'm going in with 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to stir this until everything is well combined. After it's well combined, I'm going to add in, this is probably about a little over 1/4 or 1/2 cup of chicken broth. And I'm going to stir that in. And now I'm about to add in my milk. So remember, I'm adding in 2 cups of heavy whipping cream and also 2 cups of whole milk. And I'm going to stir this until everything is nice and smooth. Now that my mixture is creamy and smooth, I'm going to go in with like 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And I'm going to stir it in. So now I'm about to go in with 2.5 ounces of this Boursin garlic and herb gourmet cheese. This is the first time I'm using it, but I did taste a little bit of it, and it's quite tasty. And I'm going to stir this in, and now I'm about to start adding in my cheeses after this. And everything is on a low heat because I do not want my cheese to burn. And I'm going to put it in a little bit at a time. No specific order in the way I put my cheese in. After I grated it all, I just put it all into a bowl. So I'm going to keep continuing to add in more cheese into my pan. And remember, I have my flame down on low. So I'm going to stir all this in. And I'm going to constantly keep stirring it so it doesn't stick or burn. So now I'm going to add in a little bit of my seafood. I'm going to add in some of my lobster tail meat. So I just added some shrimps in now. And like I said, I only added a portion of the shrimps and a portion of the lobster meat. And I'm going to now give it a little taste test to see if it's at the flavor that I want it to be. And yes, it is. It is really, really good. Now, beside me, I have a box of elbow noodles. I already cooked it. I drained it. And now I'm going to add my cheese and get this incorporated in the noodles. And I'm just going to dump all this good old cheese and shrimps and lobster in with my elbow noodles and give it one good old mix. So I have my casserole pan ready. I have my mix here. And now I'm going to add my macaroni and cheese mix inside my little casserole pan. It wouldn't all fit, but I got it in here. Now I'm going to add the remaining of the shrimp and also the lobster tail meat on top of the macaroni and cheese. And make sure I get some everywhere. And I also save some of my cheese, and I'm going to top that with my cheese. Boy, this looks good, man. And make sure I make it really, really cheesy. You can make it as cheesy as you like, and you can. So remember the lobster tails that I saved? I said I was going to use them to decorate my casserole pan. So I'm just going to like throw these around the edges before I pop it up in the oven. I'm going to put my oven on 350 and cook this like for a half an hour. But here it goes, trademarks, homemade lobster and shrimp mac and cheese. So here it goes, trademarks, homemade lobster and shrimps mac and cheese, straight out the oven and on my table.